Hello everyone and welcome to my channel Cooking for the Family. I'm Dyvonne and today I'm gonna make Portuguese soup. Portuguese bean soup, kind of. I have had this before at Zippy's, if some of you are familiar with Zippy's restaurant. So I had it at Zippy's and it's just so good. My husband and I, we loved it. And I've been wanting to make it, but each time I go to make it, I don't have all the ingredients. And I say, you know what, forget it. I'm just gonna go ahead and make it. So I kind of improvised on the ingredients. And so I'm gonna share with you my journey, how it comes out. We're having it tonight for dinner. I made some homemade sourdough bread to go with it. And so we are really looking forward to it. So you ready? I'm gonna have this kitchen journey with you. So fingers crossed that it comes out great. And if you hear a little noise in the background, that's my dishwasher going. I got the dishes going. So let's get started. Now for our soup, we're going to need some potatoes, and as we're going through the recipe, I'll share with you my variations, the little tweaks that I did based on the ingredients that I have. And we know how that is sometimes when we want to make something and we don't have a few of the ingredients, and then we just kind of tweak the recipe. That's exactly what I'm doing in this situation. So with my potatoes, I'm using a large russet potato. And if you don't have a large russet potato, and I'm cutting them about like this is about the size of a quarter, not too big, quarter size, maybe a little bit smaller than say a quarter, around about like that for the soup. Now with the russet potato, you can use a russet potato, Idaho potato. I'm using a large one, and if you don't have one really large one like a baking potato size, you can use two. So the recipe calls for using two potatoes, but I had one really large one, so I went on and went with that. Now, if you are new to my channel, I want to welcome you in. And if you return, I want to thank you for coming back. On my channel, love to share what I cook and bake for my family in my kitchen, sharing recipes, old school recipes, new ones like today that I'm trying, and just different ones that I've enjoyed making for my family throughout the years. So if you enjoy that type of content, I hope you consider subscribing. Now with my carrot, I'm using one large carrot. I'm going to go ahead and dice up my carrot right here. And the carrot I'm also going to dice up about the size of, say, like a dime. So I'm going to dice up my carrots. I'm going to put the carrots in a separate bowl. Someone once made a comment and asked me about why did I put my potatoes in water. And that's about the size of my carrots right there, about that size I'm doing my carrots, about that dime size. Now with the potatoes, the reason why I put my potatoes in water is something that I actually learned from my mother. And that is when she was preparing vegetables, or preparing potatoes, or preparing dinner, though putting the potatoes in water keeps them from getting brown on you as you are preparing the rest of your meal. Likewise, you can always, it's an opportunity for you to cut up your potatoes, put them in water, and you can put them in the refrigerator and prep them like a day or two in advance and have your potatoes cut up in water, and they can stay in cold water in the refrigerator for 1 or 2 days prior to you making your meal. So it's a great way to kind of prep ahead if you ever wanted to. I diced up 2 celery stalks, and I diced them the same size as I did my carrots. I also diced up a half of an onion, and I used a brown onion, and you can use a brown onion or a yellow onion, but not a sweet onion, okay? And then I have 1 clove of garlic that I also diced. And so we've got all our veggies together. Now this is my sourdough, and in a future video, I'll share with y'all how I make my sourdough. But that's my homemade sourdough loaf. I took it out of the oven, and it is gonna go with our meal for dinner tonight. So let's go ahead and get started with our soup. So I have here some bacon. I'm going to be using 2 strips of this thick cut bacon, and it's the thick cut smoky bacon that I'm using, and I just used 2 strips, and I went on and I cut those up. I'm going to saute my bacon and let it render down. The recipe originally calls for using a ham hock or either a ham shank, and because I did not have a ham hock or ham shank on hand, but I wanted that smoky, taste, that flavor that you would get from either of those. And so a good substitute would be bacon for me. And then for the sausage, I'm going to be using this beef smoked sausage that I was just showing you. Now at the end of the video, I'm going to share with you a visual of all the ingredients that I used. So I went on and I'm rendering down this bacon. I'm going to brown it up, and I don't want to burn it, so be mindful that if you're going to be using bacon just like I'm using, that we're going to render it down, but you want to make sure that you just kind of do it nice and steady, and we don't want to burn it, but we do want to brown it and render it down. So the beef smoked sausage that I showed you, that's a 12-ounce pack, and we're going to be using 2 of those. Now the Portuguese, this is a Portuguese sausage and bean soup. I didn't have the Portuguese sausage, so I'm using the beef smoked sausage as my substitute. Once my bacon has rendered down, I'm adding in the diced onion. That was the half of a brown onion that I diced, so I'm adding that in. And I'm also going to add in the diced carrots and celery. So I'm adding in the onions, the diced carrots and celery to the bacon that we had rendered down. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to saute this all together and just get it nice and soft and translucent. We want to soften up our vegetables. We want to soften up the onion. Now while I'm doing this, I have my flame on a medium, because I really want my veggies to soften up, but I don't want them to brown up too much. I just want to soften them for them to release some of their natural juices into the pot. And they're looking good. They're still nice, beautiful, vibrant color. They're looking really good. It's smelling really good. So this is building up a really nice base for this soup. And so when my veggies are about halfway there, and they've been sauteing for maybe about, say, 7 to 10 minutes, right around there. And so now I'm going to add in my 1 clove of minced garlic. And I like to add that in after the other veggies have sauteed a while, because with garlic, it can tend to brown and burn and like scorch a little bit. And then what happens when the garlic burns, it takes on like a bitter taste, and that taste will transfer over into the soup. And so adding in the minced garlic after the other veggies have sauteed is usually, it works out better, and you're going to get a better flavor from your soup. Now once I add in my garlic, I just saute everything together for about a minute. Next I'm going to add in my chicken broth, and actually I'm going to be using chicken stock, so you can use either chicken stock or chicken broth, and we're going to be using 2 quarts. Now this is going to be enough soup for about 6 to 8 people, so definitely in my family we're going to have leftovers, or people can have seconds for sure. Now if you want to make this for about, say, 2 people, anywhere from 2 people to 4 people, you would reduce the chicken stock or chicken broth to 1 quart. All the other veggies and the other ingredients would stay the same, with the exception of the beef smoked sausage. You would just use 1 pack. Now in the description box below, I will share a list of all the ingredients that I use to make the soup, as well as at the end of the video I'll share a visual of all the ingredients that I use, and I'll put that notation. If you're just going to make it for about a couple of people, up to 4 people, just those little extra tweaks that you can do just to kind of reduce it down. And then likewise, if you want to boost it up and have a huge pot of soup, you can definitely do that. But this is a 6.5 quart size pot that I'm using, and that's the size of pot that I'm using to make the soup. So I went on and I put both quarts of the chicken stock. Next I'm going to put in 1 8-ounce can of tomato sauce. So we're putting in 1 8-ounce can of tomato sauce, and then I'm also going to put a little bit of water and just kind of swish that around just to get that little remnants out of the can of the tomato sauce. And I'm going to go ahead and stir in the tomato sauce to the pot with the other ingredients. And comment down below and let me know if you have had the Portuguese bean soup before, and if you've had it from Zippy's before. We had it at Zippy's. We went to the Zippy's actually in Las Vegas, and that's where we had it, there at that restaurant. And we also had the malasadas. Let me know if you've had their malasadas. Oh my goodness. Malasadas are donuts. I believe they're Portuguese donuts, and they are just really delicious. So I'm looking forward to making those and sharing those with y'all as well, and sharing that journey and how to make those and have them come out just right. So I went on and I added in the potatoes. I'm going to put the top on my pot, crank up the heat, and I'm going to put my top just askew. I'm letting the potatoes get about a 10-minute head start before I add the rest of the ingredients. So let's check on our soup and see how it's doing. It's been about 10 minutes and our pot's almost to boiling, so it's doing pretty good. It's smelling good. I can smell everything is really starting to come together. So I'm going to add in my beef sausage. Now the beef sausage, I'm using two 12-ounce packs of the beef sausage. And again, if you were going to make it just for about 2 to say 3 or 4 people, you could go ahead and just use the 1 pack of the beef smoked sausage. And then I slice them about 1/4 of an inch thick. About 1/4 of an inch thick is what I slice the beef sausage. I'm going to put the top back on the pot and let it come to a nice rolling boil. It is really looking good. Our pot has come to a nice rolling boil. And so now I'm going to add in 1 cup of macaroni. This is elbow macaroni. I'm adding in 1 cup of elbow macaroni. And that was uncooked elbow macaroni, and that was the 1 cup. Now again, if you were making this for about say 2 to 3 to 4 people, you would reduce that to a 1/2 cup. Now in the notations for the description, I will put that little adjustment, that little tweak right there if you're going to be making it for a little less people. Going to put the top back on, let the macaroni go ahead and cook. Now once the macaroni has cooked, and it's been maybe about 12 minutes or so, our macaroni has cooked and it really starts to take on that wonderful flavor from this awesome broth that we have from the soup. Now I'm going to go ahead and add in my 2 cans of beans. The first can that I'm going to add in is going to be a can of red beans, and so I'm adding in a can of small red beans. Now the beans, I went on and I drained the can of beans, so I drained off the liquid from the beans. Now the Zippies that I had, they used kidney beans, but I'm using 1 can of red beans, and I'm also going to use 1 can of cannellini beans, also called white kidney beans, and also I drained that can as well. And so there's like a little bit of essence that's in the bottom of each of the cans. I usually just put a little bit of water, about a tablespoon of water, and I just kind of swoosh that around just to kind of get that last little bit out of the can. Another ingredient that's in Portuguese soup is cabbage, and so you would use a 1/2 head of cabbage. You would chop up a 1/2 head of cabbage, and then once you've put in your beans, and that's the last ingredients that we put in, once you put in your beans and you let the beans kind of just marry and cook through with all the other ingredients, then at the end you would add that 1/2 head of chopped cabbage. Now I haven't put any additional seasoning in the soup. The soup really gets its flavor from the beef smoked sausage, or either the Portuguese sausage, and from the bacon, or either using that ham hock or that ham shank. I'm going to let my soup continue to simmer and let all the flavors just go ahead and come together. And then it'll be time to serve us up some and have some dinner. And also it'll give that macaroni a chance to finish cooking and become nice and tender. So this is what our soup is looking like. It is smelling really good. It is looking good. I'm going to give it a quick taste to see if we have hit the mark with our soup. And my husband came in the kitchen earlier to see if it was time to eat dinner, and he said, hey, the soup is looking good. And so because he's had it before, and so I can't wait to get his opinion about it. But let me taste it to see how it is with our flavor. It's really hot. Oh, that broth is really good. I think I want to add a little bit of pepper though. I'm going to add a little bit of pepper. I think that's the only thing that it's needing. And so let me see. I'm going to get some fresh ground pepper right here and just add like a few twists of pepper to it. I feel like that's the only thing it really needs. And this is a pretty hearty and big pot of soup. And this is going to feed about 6 people up to about 8 people. And it was about maybe I'd say about $20 to put together this pot of soup. And so that's really good. So that comes out to about, with 8 people, about $2.50 per person for serving. Well, I've gone on and served us up a bowl. I've got our sourdough right there. Our soup is looking good. I'm going to go ahead and cut into our sourdough. Now, in addition to sourdough, I have a couple of other breads that I've also done on my channel. One is this cheesy no-knead bread. It is so good, the cheesy no-knead bread. And I'll share the link to that vlog. And another bread that I also did was this buttermilk loaf. So I did a buttermilk sandwich bread, and it is wonderful for making sandwiches or just having with your dinner. But this is my sourdough bread, and I will share a vlog on how to make homemade sourdough bread from scratch, from beginning to end, from starter to bake. And so this is my bread right here. It's going to go really great with our Portuguese bean and sausage soup. And another thing that you could serve this with would be cornbread. Cornbread would go really great. And I'll put a link to my cornbread vlog as well as my recipe for my homemade cornbread. Well, this first bite's for you. Go ahead and take your bite. Now I'm going to take my bite. Let it blow it off. Oh my goodness. This is so hearty. And the bread and everything, it just comes together so well. The heartiness of this soup, it is very comforting. And if you have never heard of this soup or tried it before, I highly recommend it. This recipe has staples in your kitchen that you can go ahead and put together this nice pot of hearty soup, which is perfect for the winter season. And even with making those tweaks to the ingredients, the flavor is pretty spot on. Because with Portuguese sausage, I know not everyone will be able to find that, and it may not be sold at their local store, at your local grocery store. So the beef smoked sausage was a wonderful substitute. And you got those carrots and the potatoes in there, and it's just so hearty, and it has come out wonderfully. Well, these are the ingredients that I use: the beef smoked sausage, the macaroni, the potato, the carrot, the clove of garlic, my onion, that was the brown onion, my celery, the 2 cans of beans, the red beans, and also the cannellini beans, the chicken stock, the tomato sauce, and also that thick cut smoky bacon. Well, that is it for me today. I hope you enjoyed spending time with me in my kitchen. If you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. And if you like this video, don't forget to show it some love, give it a thumbs up, and click hype and hype this video for others to see. And I'd appreciate it if you shared this video with a friend or family. And if you tap the notification bell, you'll be sure to be notified when I upload a new video and I share those other recipes. Remember, it's always good when Dyvonne is cooking for the family, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye, everybody.